Welcome back, Internet people. This is Tammy with Overthinking Retirement, the channel where we like to endlessly analyze the smallest retirement decision until our brains go numb. Wait, do brains have feelings? I think so. I know my brain hurts when I overthink things. And today we're going to talk about the budget. So, budget. For some people, budgeting is a fun adventure and they love digging into the numbers and finding out where every single penny goes. For other people, they just don't want to think about it. They spend money freely, and often at the end of the month, they have no idea where all their money went. Can you guess which type of person I am? Yes, unsurprisingly, as an overthinker, I love to think about money. How should I spend it? How long will it last? Which honestly is one of the weirdest questions you have to ask when you start planning retirement. Because it ultimately comes down to, how long do you expect to live? How long do you expect your spouse to live? This is something I have very limited control over. I mean, I don't smoke and I try to exercise, but I do live in a forest. A tree could fall on me, or I could be out for a drive and a deer might hit me. Those deer can be so reckless. As an overthinker, I am keenly aware of the millions of ways I could die. But will that happen at 70 or 95? I have no idea. So sometimes I feel like a bookie trying to set odds on my own death. This is not fun. Nevertheless, it has to be done. Here's why. If I expect to die by 70, I can spend money a lot more freely. I don't have long, so I might as well pack in as many amazing experiences as I can. I have always wanted to fly first class around the world, order lobster at the finest restaurants, and stay in an over-the-water suite at a 5-star hotel in Bora Bora. But if I expect to live until I'm 95, well, that's a completely different story. My money has to last another 25 years. I might be looking back at those moments in Bora Bora while eating cat food and riding the subway in order to stay warm at night. I don't like that vision for my future. So, life is about trade-offs, and budgeting is about deciding what those financial trade-offs are going to be. Personally, I'm not willing to trade financial sufficiency in my later years for amazing experiences in my early retirement. Conversely, I don't want to be one of those people who lives frugally their entire life and then dies with $1 million in the bank. That's not me either. So David and I have done a lot of work to make sure that our basic living expenses are very low during these first few years of retirement. I have to be honest, I do worry over much about money. David ended up having to retire 2 years early, and I ended up having to retire 1 year early. That means there's not as much cushion in our savings as I had hoped. So limiting our expenses, especially this year, should offset some of the financial impact of retiring early. So here's our budget. We are going to try and live on $43,800 a year. Now I recognize that some of you watching this may think that's a ridiculously low amount of money, and other people watching this could only dream of having that much to live on. In my career, I had the privilege of working with a great many people. Some of them living on Social Security, some of them with high-powered jobs making over $200,000 a year. And what I found is there were people happy living on $20,000 a year, and people very unhappy who even felt deprived living on over $200,000 a year. So it's not as much about the money as about creativity and about attitude. For David and I, the $43,800 annual budget will be challenging. During our working years, our normal budget was about $60,000 to $75,000. So there will be some belt tightening. But we still hope to do a lot of fun things. We're going to take some road trips, do some camping. We even plan on going on a couple cruises. $43,800 comes out to $120 a day. I'm going to be tracking our expenses every day, and reporting back on this channel how we do each week, whether we stay within the budget or whether we go over. We know that there'll be unexpected expenses. We know that sometimes we will be under budget, and hopefully that will provide some cushion for the time to go over budget, such as when we go on cruises. So for your viewing pleasure today, I have our week 1 of retirement budget. So week 1, we did not go on a cruise, which is kind of a shame. It would have been a fantastic way to start retirement. However, it was really good for the budget. So let's start with our fixed expenses. Fixed expenses are any expense that really don't change. So for us, those include health insurance, auto insurance, and our charitable giving. We find those out, what those are going to cost in the beginning of the year, and then they stay the same. So in order to get this number for the week or the day, I just divided by 365, and we came out with a number of $29 a day. So we'll add $29 a day to the whole week. Our next expense is our lodging. Well, we live in an RV, so our lodging expense is not super high. We divided what we pay for these sites to stay at all year, and it came out to $16 a day. So I've added $16 to each day this week. Our other expenses are highly variable. We spend different amounts week to week, and I just never know how our week's going to turn out until we settle down and get through it. On Monday, we went grocery shopping and spent $125, which is so easy to do in the grocery store these days. So we were a bit over budget on Monday. However, those groceries are going to last us all week long. The rest of the week, we really didn't spend any money. We just stayed home, took some walks, and I tried to absorb the fact that I didn't have to go to work anymore. It was lovely and relaxing, and it ended up being a really inexpensive week. So $120 a day gives us $840 to spend during a week. This particular week, we only spent $440. So we had a surplus of $400. This is Buddy the Budget Bucket, and he's going to help us keep track of how well we're doing in maintaining our weekly budget. Buddy started the week at 0, and we were able to fill him up with $400. Yay! So that's it. That's our week 1 budget. We did really good our first week. Let's see how we do next week. Until then, we'll be overthinking.